Good morning. Thank you for joining me again. My name is Lauren Heistad, author to the SOULworks Trilogy, Homecoming. I woke up this morning with a clear view of the finish line. Proverbial, I don't know, but a finish line, I guess, of realizing I only have 10 more chapters left. And it's interesting because there was a part of me that was like, just let's get this done. Let's just put in a couple 48 hours of work and just get this done. And then a part of me, not quite there yet. I wouldn't even call them fears at this point. It's the realization that my life is changing. And I like where things are at right now. Which would question why I would even keep pushing this forward. But I did make a promise to myself to tell my story. The countdown to the last 10 chapters seems to have arrived. And I think it's a shortcut. It's like I didn't realize we were here at this time. And now I see that we're there. And I want to still stop and smell the roses. So I was pretty gung-ho to read a bunch of chapters today. Who knows how many I'll read. Maybe once we get in the flow of it, I just will keep going and not stop, hey? It's not like I think that there will be a dramatic shift once I cross that finish line. It's a freedom feeling and yet an unknown. I feel like I've been living in an amazing little bubble of self-development for a very long time. Not quite sure if I get to stay in that for much longer. Want to be honest. So if you hear this video, 5 days, 5 years, or 5 centuries from now, we all have our own timeline. This one's mine. And it's a finish line that I have seen coming for a very long time, and until this morning I didn't realize it was close and in view, not just a vision any longer. And I'm honored to be here and share this time and space with you and work my way through the last of my teachings, experiences, understandings so far, and hoping and holding space for divine grace for all of us as we each cross our own finish line and move into that new era when we're ready. Okay. 10 chapters to go on chapter 61 today, called Miracles and Other Wonders. I have witnessed the energetic exchange of miracles and other wonders on many occasions. I have. And I have found all divine synchronicities happen in one of 3 forms so far. The first method, and certainly my least favorite actually, is where the one seeking healing or any form of miracle and manifesting potential for that matter, puts all their faith and life force into the hands of another. There are many so-called miracle workers in the world that have worked in this fashion over the years. Basically, if many people start believing in the divine abilities of any one person, despite what vibration or intention might be behind their endeavors, miracles can and do happen. It is like taking the force field of numerous beings and providing it to one. It is also like tapping into the power of many to create the illusion that on their own, the healer is that powerful. Not always technically true, depending on their vibration, but certainly an achievable state with the energetic help of many, many faithful and loyal fans. It is also predominantly only a temporary fix. A temporary fix, as many who have had these types of healings tend to fall back into their old patterns and comfort zones once they are back on their own. Truth. The second method is when the one who needs healing is freely provided the full faith and light force of another. This is technically the technique I used in my earlier years of healing. It is. It was like offering my entire energy field for another and putting all my faith in them to recover. Cheering them on, and reminding them how much they are loved and needed in this world. Sometimes I even offered my last miracle to them, like it was a commodity that could be limited and shared. Now, although this might sound counterproductive, it was very effective because it was done out of pure love. Pure love. And the remembrance of what people are capable of. It is the equivalent of offering your life force fully and completely to another, thereby holding the space until they get back on their own feet and recover. Then there's the third method, which is by far most effective, balanced, and mutually beneficial. The one receiving the healing comes from the place of knowing they are capable of healing, knowing they are capable, and yet also allowing another to assist in the process. The healer is also coming from a place of full knowing that they have the ability to create an energetic exchange, and yet understanding and acknowledging that so too does the one being healed. It is a balanced wheel of equal giving and receiving. It takes inner work. It does. It takes inner work and practice to achieve this state on a continual basis. And recall this divine remembrance at any time or at any place to help another. Many times, our own fears or ego step in the way. sometimes it is the faith or mindset of the receiver of this exchange that puts the process off balance. Either way, I find the circumstances need to be completely aligned for a true miracle to occur. Not that energy exchanges that don't fully release the imbalance aren't still effective. Did you hear me? Good. Often these exchanges are the exact steps and life lessons needed to get to that point of pure balance. Now, over the years, I have watched myself experience glimpses of these moments of divine success. I used to replay these milestone healing moments repeatedly in my mind, trying to determine what was present at one healing that was absent from another. I also remember the day I finally came fully into alignment with my ability to willingly help co-create change with much greater magnitude. I was working with a client, helping to shift old beliefs and thought patterns she was carrying. When the session was over, she expressed how she had been to many energy workers and that my session was the most powerful and profound she had ever experienced. Now, I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm not. In truth, her words shocked me to the core. It did. Because you see, over the years, I had worked with many clients where there were much more notable and significant intuitive breakthroughs with physical energetic releases than had been present at that session on that occasion. Then I thought I had, I lost my thought process there. I'll start from the beginning, sorry. Over the years, I had worked with many clients, friends and family, where there were much more notable and significant intuitive breakthroughs with physical energetic releases than had been present at this session in question. So from my perspective, I had felt much more connected on other occasions than I thought I had been on that particular day. This time, I was quite detached from all things. The outcome, my fears, my worthiness. I was just there to be an open channel to help with whatever needed to transpire. I even offered her an explanation as to the difference in healing abilities. I told her my sessions were different because I had finally reached the point of pure balance. Be right back. Having a moment there. I was just realizing yet again that this is repeating and that this is how I feel today. That I know I'm crossing a finish line pretty soon, and I am just here to be a clear channel, or as clear as I could possibly be, while releasing my fears, the outcome, or my worthiness. I'm just here to see what needs to transpire. Help with whatever we need, right? Anyways, have I reached pure balance? Well, moment to moment. Maybe this morning when I knew I was crossing a finish line, but certainly not the other 2 hours it took to get myself to come and start just being that open channel again. Being human, it's hard, isn't it? Okay, here we go. I was not trying to prove anything. I'm not trying to prove anything nor was I scared or worried I had something to prove. I fully knew and trusted I had the capacity to help heal and was willing to be there for anyone who was also willing to show up. I see it was you. Thank you for showing up. And remember, they too held the soul potential to create change. There was no agendas, no fears of unworthiness, just honest and humble support. That was my state of pure balance. Her state also had to come into play. She had to be in the space and mindset to remember and believe. Remember and believe in herself to overcome her current obstacles. However, she also had to be willing and able to receive the help being provided to co-create the exchange needed. This may seem like a no-brainer, but I've watched this one aspect trip up more healings than you could ever imagine. The hardest one to witness occurs when I see fellow light workers trying to overcome an illness for themselves or a loved one. In that very moment, they often reject help from a willing co-creator. On some level, they want full credit for the healing in progress and therefore unconsciously and energetically block the participation of another. And for what, really? So that someday they can lay claim to the fact that they overcame an illness, thought to be incurable, to prove something to themselves and all others? The only thing this perspective will ever prove is that ego cannot create miracles. Period. It never has, and it never will. The ability to give and receive a miracle is what creates them. Of course, there's often a pursued fourth way to create a miracle, which essentially involves holding the space all on your own. Now, many of us have learned to create change in this fashion for our own development, well-being, and personal goals. For sure. Often we work overtime, trying to override the incoming thoughts and opinions of others as we seek to maintain our own health, lifestyles, and manifestations. Though a master at managing your own energy field, I would not really categorize this course of action as a miracle, however. I wouldn't. To me, it is simply effective manifesting and energy field management. A miracle, on the other hand, and as earlier defined in my first book, is a divine intervention that brings one closer to God. Divine intervention implies co-creators. Co-creators implies multiple beings of light. And multiple beings of light would imply the biggest miracle of all. Perhaps in that very moment in time, we finally learned how to work and coexist together. All right, mastering your soul works. Have you ever considered the power of our collective minds within the concept around survival of the fittest. Our reality is based on the strongest collective thought processes. If your belief is stronger than the collective, you are creating your own reality. If your belief is weaker or in unison with the collective, that is the predominant reality you will experience. At this point in history, people who are working to manifest and create miracles by tuning into their own creative power are working against the current collective. We are. And taking back control of our own destinies. For the most part, others still believe there are many things in life we have little to no control over. The beliefs of others have a strong impact on our individual path and the path of the collective conscious in terms of health and wellness. Cancer, for example, to some is viewed as completely curable. To others, it's considered a death sentence. Either way, their own perception, strength of their auric field, as well as the beliefs and projections of those who regularly influence them, can and will affect the outcome. Truth. This does not mean to obtain miracles of healing and wellness that we must train our mind to believe healing is possible, or use a placebo to trick the mind into thinking healing is in progress. This means we must move into our soul mind, where we know all things are possible. A place of inner knowing where we know all people have the soul capacity to remember and hold the space for that divine blueprint to emerge from within. And yes, we can accomplish this on our own. Of course we can. But where two or more are gathered, the power of those collective thoughts can and do amplify to defy all odds. Yay. Still don't believe? We have control over the well-being of our own energy field? Well, the concept of multiple personalities very effectively demonstrates our ability to manage our health and wellness. Are you aware that people with split personalities can experience separate health issues depending on which aspect of their personality shows up? One aspect may have an allergy, a heart murmur, or even a disease, while the other personality can exhibit virtually no traces of the same condition. Fascinating, isn't it? Viewed as two separate identities, their isolated experiences within the world can be vastly different based on their own encounters and beliefs. Those with multiple personalities can also demonstrate different physical attributes. They can, depending on which personality steps forward. This includes eye color, the need for glasses or hearing devices, as well as more physical, obvious changes such as younger skin, taller build, or a fitter physique. It's true. I've watched it happen even to myself. Energetically viewing these anomalies, the division of one's mind through multiple personalities, from past or current lives, allows this distinction and line to be drawn for even huge health changes between the separate characters. Our minds have the potential to divide out which aspects will resonate with what life experience. For people with multiple personalities, this division is accomplished unconsciously, but on a much larger scale than most people within our society have experienced as of yet. By deliberately stepping into our soul potential, these changes can and will consciously occur for all those who bravely venture down the path of our true divinity and connection to all things. Okay, your move. Embody balance. You can't fool your mind. You can't. I've tried. You can't fool your mind into being in a balanced state. You must vibrationally live within it. Ego will never have any place at the table for creating miracles. A true and long-lasting shift in energy does not occur by trying to prove anything or fearing you are not capable. Finding and maintaining pure balance takes inner acceptance that we are all capable and worthy. You can practice focusing your thoughts to bridge this gap, but balance will take hold only when you stand firmly within this inner and outer state of being. Keep in mind, it is also impossible to embody balance when giving all your faith and power to another. You must learn how to have faith and power from within. Double truth, fact, with absolute certainty. Okay, take it one step at a time. Many people are often looking for a magic ingredient to create an instantaneous shift in energy. However, there are often many facets of life and soul path that one must first go through to fully embrace healing. Proven point. Restoring any aspect of your own health is a matter of an intention and heartfelt pursuits. Find and anchor that peace externally by making small but symbolic changes to your world internally. Yes, indeed. Next, acknowledge the supernatural. The universe provides ongoing demonstrations of miraculous encounters with divine potential. The only requirement to access this supernatural phenomenon is to recognize they are super real and a very natural part of who we are. Next, make up your own mind. Clear your mind of the thoughts and opinions of all others. Beliefs change over time. Of course they do, based on life experiences, but also because we become conditioned by those around us and the collective in general. We do. Learn to look for an alternative perspective. Look back at the beliefs you now hold, and the ones that have changed over time. What made them change or stay consistent? Do you like when a change in perspective has occurred? Or do you prefer aspects of your own inner knowing and reality? No judgment, just asking. Because you hold the power. You hold the power to make up your own mind. Next, choose a path. Until most people living in this world believe and understand healing of all things is possible, stay above the collective perspectives of disease. Going with the flow is by far easier than going against it. Definitely. Just keep in mind, however, if the flow you are following is the old, outdated story or the new direction you seek to create. Will you choose? Oh, sorry, I missed a line. There comes a time when you must make a choice. Will you choose to follow your own path and be true to your heart, regardless of the size of the rapids? Or will you keep to the smooth, familiar trail because it is the easier route to follow? It's always a choice. Become ready for change. Gulp. I know. Change is coming. But we're ready. Think of something you have been trying to shift. Are you ready? There have been many times in my life when either clients or myself have felt completely ready for change and healing to occur. And yet, when faced with the reality of being able to heal and remove, I read that wrong. And yet when faced with the reality of being able to heal and move forward, in that very moment, there is a distinct hesitation and resistance to change. Felt it just this morning. Can't make this shit up. If you do not feel ready for change, there will always be an element in your life that is not fully balanced enough to shift into healing. Insecurities, fears, and uncertainty are just some of the reasons to unearth. Well, aren't I a work in progress? Thank you for joining me on my official countdown through the rest of the chapters. 10 down.